Hi everyone, let's see the concept of file handling. Generally, whenever we are going to write any kind of Java program, we are trying to save it with an extension called .java. .java. Then any kind of program that it is going to store in our hard disk, which is present in our computer. Okay, later on we are going to make compile process, meaning that we are going to make compilation. Then it is going to generate a dot class file. This dot class file is also going to store in our hard disk of the system, meaning that hard disk means it's a kind of permanent memory. Permanent memory. Okay. Later on, if we are trying to run the same Java program, I have explained this concept clearly. There is a system we call it as class loader subsystem. Class loader subsystem. What is the purpose of class loader subsystem? The class loader subsystem is going to load the dot class file from which place? From secondary memory. From secondary memory to primary memory. Secondary memory to primary memory. I mean, who is the responsibility of loading the corresponding dot class file which is present in hard disk of our system to the main memory of the system? Class loader subsystem, meaning that if you want to run anything, it can be like any kind of application or it can be like any kind of program or whatever it may be. To make it run, it should be must and should be present in our main memory. That means it should be in primary memory. Primary. Okay, fine. The class load subsystem loads the corresponding dot class file from hard disk to the primary memory we got. Then it will execute. It will execute and we will get some kind of results. Some kind of results. Is these results are temporary or permanent? That depends upon again the system, the type of program that you have written. Generally, up to now, whatever the program that you have written, all those programs are going to run in our main memory. Then those results are all temporary, meaning that once we close the program, the data we won't get any, we won't have available anywhere. Meaning that like these programs, what are the program that we have written, those programs doesn't require any kind of secondary memory. Doesn't require any kind of secondary memory. Guys, I hope you know the meaning of primary memory and secondary memory. Guys, first let me give brief explanation that if you take memory, this memory we classified into two types. One is primary memory, or we call it as main memory, and another one is secondary memory. Second one, the primary memory means RAM. The data which is present in the primary memory is volatile. RAM, random access memory, is volatile, meaning that once my system shut down, I mean, in olden days we have computers, right? Once my computer is shut down, if there is no backup of power, then automatically the data, whatever the data that we are processing, is always going to delete it. That defines RAM, random access memory, which is volatile, meaning that once the power off, automatically our data is going to lose if we didn't save that program, if we didn't save that data. What about the secondary memory, which is simply nothing but like any kind of hard disk, pen drives, anything which we can save the data permanently. So the data which is present here, these are all non-volatile, meaning that their data won't change with respect to the kind of like power. Even though power is lost, the data won't lost here. Okay, fine. So here our concept is, once we run the program, it is going to produce some results. Those results are always going to store in primary memory of the system. So that is the reason they are temporary. Meaning that why we make them as temporary, because there is no use of the data which we are generating as of right now for the programs. Okay, if we require, we can do some other process, but as of now, up to now, what are the programs we did, the results that we are getting, those results we are not, we didn't need to use anyway. So that is the reason we made them as temporary. That defines which doesn't require any kind of secondary memory. Means simply I can say that the programs that we have written up to now, those programs we call it as volatile programs. Volatile programs, or simply we call it as non-persistent programs. Non-persistent programs. Volatile means changing, meaning that whose results are temporary. Non-persistent means it is not it is not persistent, meaning that it is not consistent, always changing. That's it. Okay. Similarly, there are some programs. There are some programs, like for example, there is a kind of Java program, Java program, which may require some kind of secondary storage device to store the data. It may require some kind of secondary storage device required to store data, like hard disk, pen drives, etc. Like for example, Amma, I have written a Java program. I have written a Java program in such a way that I need to get the results of ID number S170535. Right? I have written the program like this. But the thing is, if you want to get the results of S170535, first this person details need to store in somewhere. That storage is like a secondary device, any kind of permanent device. So the thing is, so whenever you are trying to work out with a secondary devices, for that if you write a program, those programs we call it as non-volatile programs. Non-volatile programs, or we can call it as persistent programs. Persistent programs. Okay, fine. See, so to retrieve some student details, I have written a program, something like exam.java. So this exam.java file is responsible for to take data from a secondary storage device. To take data from one secondary storage device. One secondary storage device. Okay. So here the thing is, this secondary storage device can be anything. That can be like, in olden days we are having a tapes. We are having tapes. Like we can use our hard disk. We can use hard disk. We can use the files also. We can use the files also. Meaning that, see, observe, there is a file. There is a file whose name is like abc.txt, abc.txt, or else some file which is abc.java. These are all the files or not? Simply, I mean, what do you mean by file? A file is simply a collection of related information. Like for example, here my concentration is I want to retrieve the student details. For that, in that abc.txt file, I am going to store the results of all the students. So the results of all students. This is going to reside at which location? It is going to reside at hard disk of the system. As it is residing in the hard disk of the system, is it volatile or non-volatile? It is non-volatile, meaning that it is going to store in our system permanently. It is going to store in our system permanently. That is the reason in olden days, what is happening is, to store the data permanently in our system, they are using files. They are using files. Okay, what is a file? It's a kind of collection of related information. Okay, fine. So, sir, what is the advantage of files? So right now I said file is used for to store the data. Is it for to store the data? To store the data. Okay, fine. Sir, only this is the advantage? Yes, obviously. File is simply to store the data. That's it. Like that data can be any data. For example, uh, I can write like one program like main.java. It contains the information about the Java program. That's it. For example, jk.text file is also a file which contains the information about myself. Like that, we can have any file. We can have any file which are meant for to store the data. To store the data. Okay, fine. See, there are some drawbacks are there in these files, meaning that once I created a file, once I created a file, the data which is we are trying to store in a file is not secured. It is not secured. Why? Because once you hand over the system to your friend, what they can do, they can open that file or not. Yes, they can open because it doesn't having any privacy settings. It doesn't having any privacy setting, meaning that unauthorized users can able to access the data. That is one of the drawback of files. Unauthorized people can also access the data. For example, let me take one more drawback. If there is a huge data, lots of data, like terabytes of data, the terabytes of data I can able to store, but maintenance of the data in the files is a difficult process. That is the reason recently, it is not recently, we are using dbms, we are using databases. I hope you understood the meaning of database, which is a server where it can store huge data. From the database we can able to retrieve any data. Am I right or not? If the huge data I cannot able to manipulate them, I cannot able to manipulate in a simple manner. So to make this process, we are not using the files concept, but we can use the concept of databases. But the thing is, so to make it understood clearly, for example, if it is a like very small data, very small amount of data, right, understand my point, very small amount of data, where it can, we need to store only the username of single person and the password of that single person, this I can able to store in a file called jk.txt. I can able to store in a file called jk.txt. Yes, with this data I can able to perform some kind of operation. But if you want to go for with the concept of databases, we require what? We require to purchase the database, and then they will provide login credentials. Then provide login credentials. Like this, we'll have very some process is there. There's some process, meaning that, so this is an unnecessary thing. If you are thinking that whatever the data that we are processing is like it is not more secure, then you can go for the concept of files, meaning that when it is a small amount of data, it is a reasonable thing to move for the concept of files. Okay now, so the advantage of files is we can able to store the data. The disadvantage is it is not secure, and also huge data cannot able to, huge data I can able to modify, but it will take time and may prone to error. But the advantage is I can able to store small amount of data so that I can able to process very easily. Okay, okay, fine. So what are the programs that we have seen up to now? All those programs are all volatile programs, meaning that we are not going to store data anywhere. Data anywhere. Okay. Now what we'll do is, now we will see how to store the data permanently, meaning that how to work with files. How to work with files. We are trying to work with files means we are trying to store the data permanently in our hard disk of the system. Okay. For example, let me take a simple example. Let me take, there is a kind of application. There is a kind of application like Java application, and I have written a huge code. Written a huge code, a huge code. Okay, fine. Now, for this application, can we able to give the input from keyboard or not? Yes, I can able to give input from keyboard. Can I able to give the input from network? Yes, I can able to give the input from network. Can I able to give the input from files? Normal file like abc.txt. Keyboard means it's like a console. From console I can able to give. Network means from socket I can able to give. Socket means it's a kind of port. Through that port I can able to give input to the my Java program. So these are all various kind of inputs, possible inputs which we can able to give to the Java application. Java application. Okay, fine. Similarly, whatever the whatever the thing that it is going to process by taking input from the corresponding locations, it is going to produce some kind of output. It is going to produce some kind of output. So that output I can able to produce to where I can able to produce to a monitor. I can able to produce to a monitor, or I can able to produce it to a kind of printer. Simple nothing but I can able to simply define a peripheral device, or I can able to give it to an another port like another socket, another network, or I can able to copy it to one more file or same file, like for example like abc.txt, meaning that I am going to give input from various kind of ways. Similarly, I can able to produce my output to various ways, various locations. So this is what input, and this is what output. Okay, fine. So generally, in all the programming languages, you know, like for example, let me take C language. Let me take C language. In C language, you have heard the terms like standard IO. Standard IO. What is that meaning? Standard input output, meaning that here users able to can take input from the keyboard and they can able to produce output to the computer screen or not. Yes, meaning that they are going to take input from one location and they are going to produce some output, like you have the terms like std in, std out, std error, all these. Similarly, in Java programming I explained the clearly system.in. What is the use of this one? The use of this one is we are trying to give input to the Java program through what? Through keyboard. Through keyboard. Okay, fine. So in C language, what you have already seen in C language, there is C program. The C program can able to read the data from a file and can able to write data to the file. Get to the file. Meaning that we have already seen the concept how to work with the concept of files. But what about to read data from a network? Is it possible in C language? It is not possible. It is not possible. For this, Java has a separate feature. That feature we are calling it as stream. That feature we are calling it as stream, meaning that this stream feature can able to support the concept of files as well as network. Like this, we'll have n number of advantages are there. So it has one of the uh, best feature. We call it as a stream, guys. Uh, Here, what is happening in this from keyboard to Java application? Information is flowing or not? We can call it as flow of information. We can simply call it as inflow of information. What about this output? We can call it as outflow of information. Outflow of information. In a river, what is happening? So if the some water is flowing, can we call what? Stream or not? Can we call stream or not? Yes. Stream means, like, for example, the downstream of the river is 48 km per hour. The upstream of the river is 60 km per hour. Like this, they are going to say. Simply, stream means flow of something. Flow of something. Here, simply I can call this as a stream. As a stream. What is stream? Stream is simply a flow of information. Simply we can say that technically it is a kind of channel which is able to allow data, which is able to allow continuous flow of data, allow continuous flow of data from which location to which location? From input devices to Java application. From input devices to Java application. Okay, here what is the stream? Here also the same thing. It is a kind of stream which is allowing continuous flow of data from Java application to output devices. Output devices. Or in other terms, we can call it as it is a kind of uh, flow of data between flow of data between where a primary memory and secondary memory. Primary memory and secondary memory So here data can be anything, ma. Data can be in the form of a bits, or it can be in the form of a bytes also, or it can be anything. That depends upon the type of logic that we are writing. Okay, simply to make it understood, stream we can call it as, or we can say that it is used for to move data from one place to another place. That's it. Use it to move data from one place to another place. That's it. See, the way that it is flowing, that depends on, it is classified into two types. There are two types of streams, meaning that the flowing of data, if it is in the form of bytes, that we call it as one type of stream. If it is in the form of characters, we call it a one type of stream. Like that, it is classified into two types of streams. One is byte oriented streams. Byte oriented stream. Another one is character oriented streams. Character oriented stream, meaning that, see, observe here I can use byte oriented stream. See, I will write capital B, byte oriented stream, or I can use character oriented stream. Here also I can use byte oriented stream, or I can use character oriented streams. Okay, so what is byte oriented streams will do? So you know the meaning of streams, meaning that flow of data. That flow of data means how it is flowing. It is going to flow, meaning that this byte oriented streams allows the moving of data in the form of bytes, in the form of bytes from input devices to Java application and Java application to input devices. Sorry, can we get Java application to input devices? No, it is not possible. From Java application to output devices. So bytes, uh, See, there is a major difference between this byte oriented stream and character oriented stream. First, let me complete what do you mean by character oriented stream. It is also a kind of stream which is going to allow the flow of data in the form of what? In the form of characters. It is going to in the form of characters. It is going to allow in the form of bytes only. So see here, if it is a character oriented stream, it is going to allow only, simply we can call it as flow of characters or a text mode. That's it. Flow of characters or text. Whereas coming to, if the stream is allowing the bytes, then we can able to handle any kind of data. Any kind of data means it can be like, I will take any kind of data. That data can be character also. Don't get confused. Character oriented streams supported by byte oriented stream. That's it. Characters also. It can support images. It can support videos, audios, anything. All are going to supported by the byte oriented streams. Supported by the byte oriented stream. I mean, for each and every kind of byte oriented streams and character oriented stream, they have their own predefined classes in Java. All those predefined classes are available in a package called java.io.start java.io package. Here, so you know, right? The star means it's a collection of classes and interfaces. By using all these classes and interfaces, we can able to allow flow of data from input device to Java program and Java program to output devices depend on whether it is a byte oriented stream or whether it is a character oriented stream. Okay. If you see in depth about byte oriented streams, 1 minute. See, if you see in depth about byte oriented streams, in byte oriented streams, we have two types of classes. We have two types of classes. One is input stream. One is input stream. Input stream is a kind of abstract class. Kind of abstract class, which is meant for to move the flow of data from input devices to Java application. Input to Java application. Similarly, there is one more class. That class we call it as output stream class, which is also an abstract class, which is responsible for to move the flow of data from Java application to output devices. Java application to output devices. I mean, see, observe. In Java, what is the superclass of all classes? Object is the superclass of all classes. Superclass of all classes. Whenever you are trying to move move the data from input device to output devices, we must and should use the stream as input stream. Whenever you are trying to move data from an application to output devices, you have to use a stream called output stream. Output stream. Guys, observe. Try to make it clear. These classes I have given in which streams, byte oriented streams only. Byte oriented streams only. Similarly, if you want to work with, character oriented streams, there is a predefined class. That predefined class we call it as file reader. And uh, in character oriented streams, if you want to move data from application to output, then we'll use a predefined class called file writer. File writer. These are all very, very important. This is meant for byte oriented stream. This is meant for character. Character output stream is meant for byte oriented streams. Okay. So the superclass of all classes is object. Object. Right? So here one of the class is input stream class. Input stream class. Okay, so this input stream abstract class is having some of the extended classes, those classes which we are going to use at different situations. First, let me write this hierarchy first. Right, guys, all these are all classes. Don't think about wherever if I write any kind of small letters, please make it correct. I will write correctly maximum. One is file input stream, is a kind of extended class, extended class. And byte array input stream is also one of the extended class of input stream. Filter input stream, filter input stream. Piped input stream, object input stream. These are all the various kind of subclasses of input stream. Subclass of input stream. If you go for taking in depth about the filter input stream, it is having three more subclasses. One is data input stream, buffered input stream, pushback input stream. These are all the subclasses of filtered input stream. So depending upon our requirement, we will move to the corresponding classes. For the time being, try to remember these are all the various kind of classes which are meant for particular purpose while working uh, with to give input to the Java program. That's it. Okay, and there is one more kind of class, one more kind of class. That class we call it as which you written, which you have seen right now, right? Output stream. Output stream. For this, all the superclass is what? Object only. Class is object. So fine. I will take new slide and I will write. So object is the superclass of all classes. One of the abstract class that is output stream. Output stream class. Okay. For this, the same thing, Amma. There is nothing difference. The terms will change. One is file output stream. File output stream. Byte array output stream. Filtered output stream. Filtered output stream. Another one is piped output stream. Another one is object output stream. Again, this filtered output stream is again classified as data output stream, buffered output stream, another as print stream. Another as print stream. Guys, there is nothing difference between these two. I will make it rough so that this is a kind of hierarchy which is related to uh, input, and this is the kind of hierarchy which is related to output. Meaning that this is inflow of information hierarchy. Inflow of information hierarchy. This is outflow of information hierarchy. Guys, like I will take slide number 2 and slide number 1. Slide number 1 classes are all the classes which is belongs to which kind of stream? Byte oriented streams. Byte oriented streams. So this class also which is belongs to what? Byte oriented streams. In byte-oriented streams, for which these are all useful whenever you are trying to make output. Whenever you are trying to make output. What about this one? Whenever you are trying to make to give the input. Whenever you are trying to make to give the input to the system, we will use input stream. Input stream. Guys, just observe here. uh, I will make some clue here how to identify whether the classes are byte oriented stream or whether the classes are character oriented streams. Guys, in byte oriented streams, all the classes are going to end with the word stream only. End with the word stream. Whether it is an output stream or whether it is an input stream, all are going to end with the stream word. All are going to end with the stream word. Okay, and one more important point. In byte-oriented streams, each and every data is going to occupy 1 byte of memory. Each and every data is going to occupy 1 byte of memory. Whereas in character data streams, each and every data is going to occupy 2 bytes of data. 2 bytes of data. Okay, fine. So this is something which is related to byte oriented streams. Now let me show uh, the, the hierarchy related to character oriented streams. Guys, it may be feel bored, I think so, but the thing is, I have if I write all in a single chart, so that you will get very much clarity, meaning that in our entire concepts we are going to discuss all these classes, right? Object is the superclass of all classes. For this, if you are trying to give input to the Java program, which we are going to use for character strings, we are going to use file reader. So a reader is the abstract class for character oriented streams, which you to read the data, and writer is the abstract class which you to write the data. So what this reader class is going to do? It is going to read the data in the form of characters from input devices to the Java application. What about writer? Writer is an abstract class which is meant for to carry the data in the form of characters from Java application to output devices. If you see in depth about the classes of a reader, we have various kind of classes are there. One is char array reader. Guys, don't worry. I will take each and every class and I will explain clearly. Another one is a file reader. Another one is a buffered reader. Input stream reader. String buffered reader. Like this, we are having. Okay, if you want, you can write like piped reader is there. String reader is there. Like this, we have various kind of classes are there to read characters from input devices to Java application. Similarly, to write data from Java application to output devices, we can use same. In place of all these, we are going to write as writer. That's it. Observe char array writer, file writer, buffered writer, input stream writer. All this I am going to replace with a single word. In place of reader, I am going to write writer. Input stream writer, print writer, piped writer, string writer. Like this, we are having various kind of character oriented stream classes. So whenever you want to work with characters, whenever you want to move data in the form of characters, we can use any of these classes. That also depends upon the type of requirement which you are implementing. Okay, so how we are going to identify all the character oriented streams? All the character oriented streams are going to end with either a reader or writer. That's it. How much amount of data it is going to occupy? 2 bytes of memory. Okay. So finally, what I can say is, whatever the classes that I have shown up to now, each and every class is meant for specific purpose. Each and every class is meant for specific purpose. For example, for example, there is an application. There is an application, or simply I can say that there is a kind of Java program. Java program. I have a file. I have a file. Like it contains some kind of information whose file name is abc.txt, and I need to read the data from this abc.txt files to application, and the same data I need to copy it to another file whose file name is jk.txt. jk.txt. I mean, it can be like abc.txt also. It can be same file or it can be another file. Can be another file. Yes. Right now, what I can do is I can able to send this data in any format. In any format means I can able to send the data in the form of characters, or I can able to send the data in the form of bytes, or I can able to send the data in the form of characters, or I can able to send the data in the form of bytes. So here we are going to use one kind of stream class, that is file input stream class. File input stream class. So meaning that it is going to give input from this file to application. What about here? Here I can use file output stream class. So if I am using file input stream and file output stream, the data will be sent in the form of what? Bytes. Or I can use another one. What is that another one? I can able to send in the form of characters, right? That is file reader, or I can use file writer if you are trying to send in the form of characters. In the form of character. For example, there is another scenario, like for example, I have an image file. I have an image file whose image file name is abc.png, and my application wants to read the data, and I want to copy it in some other location whose name is jk.png. Is jk.png. Meaning that I am trying to copy. So my Java program is meant for to copy the data from one location to another location, which is an image. Which is an image. Now the image, can we send in the form of characters? No, it is not possible. We can able to send in the form of only bytes. In the form of bytes. At that time, if it is allowing only byte oriented data, can I use like file reader or file writer? No. Meaning that file reader is not possible here. Here, file writer is not possible. It is not possible. Only possibility is file input stream, file output stream. Meaning that depending upon the need, we need to use whether byte oriented streams or character oriented streams. We have to define. We have to know that. So that is the reason. First, I have given clearly about various classes of all. Okay. See, uh, this kind of program. For this program, I am having uh, a file. I'm trying to give data in the form of file. Give in the form of file. I mean, I need to give the input in the form of file. This file we can call it as simply a collection of data. Collection of data, right? These files are also is of two types. Also, one minute. Sorry, ma. There are two types of files are there. One kind of files are sequential files. Another kind of files are like random access files. The name itself provides that clear-cut meaning. Sequential files means in this kind of files we can able to access the data sequentially. Meaning that in a file, if you are trying to access the data in sequential format, then we call it as sequential file. Meaning that in this kind of files, random access is not possible. Whereas coming to random access files, we can able to access them in the random. Meaning that I can able to, for example, line number 1, 2, 3, 4. I can able to read the data from directly line number 3. I can able to read the data from directly from line number 1. Whereas in sequential files, we need to move first third line, then we need to print, then we need to move back to again first line. So that defines two types of file. One is sequential file, another one is random access files. Okay. So whenever you are trying to work with sequential files, Java contains a special class called file class. Special class called file class, which is available in java.io package. I already said all the packages. If you are trying to work with the file concept, all are going to available in java.io package. So to work with these files, sequential files, we need to use a predefined class called file class. So to make it work with this file class, first we need to create the object of this class. We need to create the object of this class or not? Yes. We need to create object of that class. So how to create that object of that class? Generally, see, we know the class name file f equal to some reference equal to new file of. I have created an object and they have implemented as a parameterized constructor. Like I can pass string name. Can pass string name. String name defines here any kind of file name. Any kind of file name means like abc.txt or abc.java or anything. So this is the way we are trying to create object for a particular file. What is that file? For example, if it is an abc.txt, see observe file f1 equal to new file of abc.txt. abc.txt. For example, assume that this abc.txt file is already available at the system. Is already available in the system. Then for this file, there is an object created f1 that will be pointed to abc.txt. abc.txt. Meaning that if it is available, f1 will be pointed. F1 will be pointed. For example, if it is not available, it won't point it to anything. It won't point it to anything. So this is the one kind of syntax. The another way to create an object is I can able to pass two parameters. Those two parameters, the first one is a string which is a subdirectory, and second one is file name, string name. It's a string subdirectory. Meaning, for example, in JK folder, I am having a file called abc.txt. That meaning, if you want to define like this, meaning that I am trying to work out presently with the folder cscbc. My file abc.txt is not available in cscbc. Instead, my file is available at JK folder. Then I can give that folder JK folder. In that, the file name is abc.txt. Similarly, the same meaning. If it is available, it is going to make reference as f2. If it is not available, it won't create any object for that. an object for that. Or the another way is I can able to pass directory object. Syntax I need to explain later actually, but as all these are at a single location, it is easy for you to remember. New file of F1 is an object. What object? It's a kind of directory reference. Another one is a string name. Okay, let me come up this third syntax again. Before that, let us understood there are three ways we can able to create the file object. Able to create file object. See, try to understood. Once again, I am saying I am going to create an object file f equal to new file of abc.txt. abc.txt. Guys, observe here the thing is if abc.txt exists, then my file f is pointed to this one. For example, I have written file f1 equal to new file of jk.txt, meaning that I am interested to work with the file jk.txt, but that file is not available. Then f1 is not pointed to anything. F1 is not pointed to anything. Okay, F1 is not pointed to anything, but can we create this file or not? Yes, we can able to create. We can able to create. For that, file class having one of the method whose name is create new file. Create new file. Create new file. So create new file is a method which you to create the corresponding file. Like for example, if I write like this. So observe, if it is not available, we are going to write f1 dot create new file. F1 dot create new file. If the file is already available, it is going to return false. It's going to return false. If the file is already not available, it is going to create the new file. Then it is going to return what? See, I will show all the examples. So create new file is going to return the value Boolean values. Boolean values. Similarly, before going to create a new file, we can able to check whether the file is existed or not. Whether the file is existed or not. For that, the file class contain one method called exist method. So this also do the same thing. If available, it is going to return true. If not available, it is going to return false. It is going to return false. Similarly, in a system, when we are having a file, this file having various kind of properties, right? Can we find the size of the file or not? We can able to find. Can we get the name of the file? Yes, we can able to get the name of the file. Can we delete the file? Yes, we can able to delete the file. Can we get the corresponding location? The location of a file or not? Yes. Like this, there are some various properties are there. All those properties we can able to get through the file object. Through the file object for which the file is created. For which the file is created. For example, abc.txt is available, f is pointed. Now what I can do, if I want to find the size of the file, I can use a method whose method name is length method. I will write like f dot length method, which is going to return what? The total number of bytes present in the file abc.txt. To get the name of the file, I have a name. I have a method whose method name is getName method. To delete the file, I can use, I will write like f dot object name dot, right? F dot, I can use the method delete method. To get the location of the file, I can use the method called get absolute path. Get absolute path. Like this, we can have various kind of properties. For all those properties, we have various kind of method sum. Similarly, for a file, we'll have various kind of permissions or not. Sometimes you can observe whether my file having write permissions or not, whether my file having read permissions or not. All those we can able to define through through the file object. All these methods are available in which class? File class. Available in file class. Okay, fine. Now what I will do is I will take one example which is closely related to all the explanation which I have explained up to right now. Okay, my concentration is here. I have up to 52 frame, up to 51, up to this slide. All I have given only theoretical concept. So from the 52 frame, I'm trying to create a file. So from here onwards, I'm going to take the example. Okay, fine. First, observe whenever you are trying to work out with any kind of input output process, input output thing, we need to use java.io package. Java.io package. Okay, in that IO package, I am specifically explained here related to purely file class. That's the reason I imported only file class. Nothing other than that, nothing required, right? So I will take handling file. Class name as handling file. Handling file dot java. Have saved. Okay, fine. I will write main method public static void main string box string box. Okay, fine. Uh, Next, what I need to do? I need to create file. First, let me take file class reference equal to new file of new file of. I need to pass. See, observe. I am explaining first syntax. abc.txt. Let's observe first. abc.cs text is available or not. Just check in cscbc first. abc.txt is there? No, there is no abc.txt. I'm trying to give abc.txt. abc.txt. Now what I will do is I want to check whether this abc.txt is exist or not. Is exist or not. Yes, I can check simply. Guys, is IO packages IO packages are checked exceptions or unchecked exceptions. IO packages are all checked exceptions. If you observe that chart, all are checked exceptions, meaning that we need to handle all these first. During the compile time itself, we need to handle. So that is the reason I am using try catch block. System dot out dot println of. Well, right, there is some problem. If you write like object, it is better for you so that you will get clear idea where the error is occurred. So here also I'm right. See, I'm trying to show all the various kind of possibilities. System.out.println. Observe. Java C space handling file dot. So see, generally here what happened? Here it will return what value? It will return false only. Because abc.txt file is not there, that is the reason it is going to say that it is false. False means it is not available. Successfully compiled. Java space handling file. What what is the output you got? You got output as false because that file is not available physically in the corresponding CSCBC location. CSCBC location. Okay, fine. Instead of that, if I write like this, is there any file like, for example, yard file is there, right? I will write like yard dot Java. Now you are going to get the output as true. Observe. That file is exist already. Compiled. You got the true, right? Yes. That is the meaning of exist method. Meaning that which is meant for to check whether the corresponding file exists or not. If it is exists, it is going to return true. If it is not exist, it is going to return false. That's it. Okay. Now my aim is I want to show that abc.txt is not available. That is the reason we are getting here as false. Then what I will do is I will try to create that new file. I will try to create that new file. For that, we will use a method f dot create new file. See guys, this f dot create new file is going to create a file. It's going to create a memory location. So then it is going to do return what? It is going to return true. It's going to return true. Now if I try to check once again, what happened here, it is going to get as true. Why true? Ma? After creation of file, one thing we are trying to check for whether it is exist or not, then it is going to return true. Now execute. See, false, true, untrue. Okay, fine. Now once again I will do what? Once again I will make copy. I will try to create once again new file. Now we are going to get false because this file is already created. So that is the reason I didn't created a file. That is what it is showing. Compile. False. You got. So once the create file is going to return false, it means that the file is already existing. The file is already existing. Okay, fine. So this is the first way. This is the first way. But the second way, I can able to create subdirectory, right? I can able to the first parameter is subdirectory, second parameter is file name. For example, there is a folder called p folder. There is a folder called p folder, or there is a folder called in folder. In that in folder, I want to create the file. What I can do, I can pass the first parameter as that corresponding location, and I'm trying to delete that once again. How delete it? Okay, there is no problem. Okay, abc.txt. Now what happened if I try to check f.exist? It is going to check for first it is going to return false, then it is going to return true, then it is going to exist true, then it is going to return once again false. The same answer will get, but the file is created in which location? CSCBC in folder. Observe. What happened? Illegal escape character. Okay, fine. Whenever we are working with file concepts, we need to write like this. Forward slashes. Okay, same right? False, true, true, false. But the thing is, abc.txt is created in which location? In folder. Observe. In folder. Created with any data? No data. It is not created any data. Okay. Fine. Here I forget to explain one thing. Uh, Here this file class can also be used for to create directories also, meaning that to create folders also, like in normal windows, through command prompt I can able to create directories or not. What is that command? Make directory. Similarly, here also we have a method. That method name is mkdir method, which is meant for to create directory. So let me show how to create directory now. What I will do is I will write like new file of Jaya. File of Jaya. Then what I will do is I will make use of method mkdir method. Okay. Now just I will try to compile. Just check whether Jaya folder is there or not. Jaya folder is not there in the corresponding location. I will try to compile. Nothing. I mean, it is not system.out.println. Directory created for our understandable. Directory created. Now compile. Directory created. Go for the location. Java folder is there or not? Yes. Java folder is created. That is so. File class is also meant for to create directories. To create directories. Okay. And one more thing is observe. You can use this try block. This try block, or if not interested, you no need to use. But the thing is, you need to handle or not. How to handle? What I am saying is, I don't want to handle. If there are any kind of exceptions raised in line number 789, I no need to handle, but I need to make say to the system that who is the responsibility to the system, who is the responsibility. Exception class is the responsibility. Okay, that is the reason I'm trying to use the keyword throws keyword. Is working or not? Yes. Meaning that from now onwards, I'm going to use the throws keyword so that compiler will in turn throws that to the corresponding exception. That's it. Okay. I have created a directory. Created directory. Now let me take the thought syntax. See, second one I have explained, right? I have explained. Let me take thought syntax. The thought syntax is first parameter is what? First parameter is file object. What is that file object? This file object means directory object. That is what I said, right? And the string name. And the string name. Observe. I will write here, or I will write file f equal to new file of Jaya. New file of Jaya. Then once again I am going to create a file f equal to new file of f1 f. What is this f? This f is a object related to which directory? J directory, meaning that J directory is pointed by which file? F5. F5, which contains a file called abc.txt. abc.txt. So this is the third way, is another way to create a file, meaning that so the third syntax is meant for create directory and create a file. Create directory and create a file. This second one is meant for create a file in subdirectory. First one is meant for create a file in the same location. That's it. So that syntax I will show. So here I have created a directory. Create directory. Then I will create a new file which is in the same directory of Jaya. New file of object name, directory object f comma, for example csc.txt. csc.txt. Now guys, tell me, will you get an error or will you get execute successfully? Just check. It is showing the directory created. Just go for there and try to check for Jaya. In that there is nothing. Why nothing? Because whenever we are trying to work with the concept of files, if the file is not available, what is the meaning of this one? csc.txt file is not available. So the responsibility of file class is it is not physically created the files. Physically create the files, but we need to create the file physically. So for that, we need to use create new file. Create new file. See, observe, is not physically created. File created. Observe. If I execute, observe. Directory created. Okay. File also created. I didn't print it, right? So now go for drive. Jaya, in that csv.txt created or not? Yes. Is created. Like this, we need to use the three variations. The three variations. Okay. Now let's see various kind of methods which are used by which are provided by the file class. Among these, first one, create new file completed, exist file is completed, and remaining thing we'll see now. Okay, what I will do is I will take out all this for the simplicity of the code. Guys, is there any necessary to write like create file csv.txt? Yes, because csv.txt is not available in this drive. csv.txt is not available. Observe, csv.txt is not available. So we need to make use of create new file once again. F1 dot create new file is created. Observe, file is created. Just check, csv file is created. Okay. Now what I can do is I can perform various kind of operations, like I can find the length of the file, system dot out dot uh, println of size of the file is what is the method I can use? I can use the method length method. The method length method. For example, before that I will write some data. Write some data. So that it will provide some kind of number size. So next, can I delete the file? Yes. If at all, I will delete the. Yes, I will show delete also. I can delete the file. First, let me show these two. There is a kind of error. Always I need to close. File handling.java. What happened? Yes. Observe. F is an object which is not find, right? The file name is object name is F1. It is not F. What happened? Size is 12, and this is deleted. Deleted, right? That is true. Observe, the size is 12. Okay, fine. Go for there. Is there any CSV file? Observe. No CSV file. Okay, all are completed. Okay, fine. So that is like this we can use. There is one more kind of method. Like if you want to check whether it is a kind of file or not, we can use the method is file method. Is file method. Like once again, I don't want delete now. Is file method. Is file method. If I try to run, first the method is first the file created, then size it is 0 because I didn't inserted any data. It is not deleted. Is file or not? File or not? We are getting the answer as true. That means file or not means it is true, meaning that it is a kind of file. It's a kind of file. Okay, and there is one more kind of method. That method is list method, which is going to list out all the files. List out all the files. These files can be any kind of files and directories. Directories. Observe. I will. So in which location you want to get, that location you need to give. So for a file, I can able to provide, observe, I will take one class, Jaya class. In that, in this, I will create a new file whose file name is once again RGUKT. Once again RGUKT. I am going to give this folder path. This folder path. See, observe here you need to give forward slashes. What is the meaning of this one? I have given a path to this folder. From this one, I need to check for uh, what kind of files are there. What kind of files are there? I need to list out all those. So I will write like f1 dot list, dot list, and all those files I need to save. So I will leave one string array s equal to f1, meaning that all the files, whatever the files are there, all are going to store in the string array. Then to display right for you, I will make a list of files or directories, or I will try to print. So for that, I can use a single for loop int I equal to 0, I less than. So if you want to find the length of the array, I can use the length keyword, then I plus plus. Then I will try to print each and every name of the file. S of, what the value I need to pass? S of file. Let me execute and check. Yes. So the list of files or directories are csc.txt and rgkt. And then that's it, right? In Jaya folder rgkt csc. For example, let me create a new one, new text document, whose text document is jk. Let me create a new text document once again, Krishna. Observe, now if I try to run, you got right, csc.txt, jk.txt, krishna.txt, and rgkt folders are there. If you create one more folder, you will get one more folder also. The folder whose name is okay. Run. You got right. All the list of files and list of folders you got. This is way we can use the list method, which is going to list out all the files which are present in the corresponding folder. Now my requirement is in this, I want to list out only the files. I want to list out only the files. If I want to list out only the files, what we can do? There is a method which I recently explained. The method name is isFile method. By using the isFile method, if it is a file, it is going, we need to print that name. If it is not file, we need to skip that. Right? Yes, I can do that easily. So what I will do is I will make simply the list of files are the list of files are uh, I can simply make the count like int count equal to 0, or else I want to count the list of directories also. List of directories also. For this, I will take a directory equal to 0. Or files equal to 0. Meaning that these two variables are meant for to count the total number of files, total number of directories. Now what I will do is I will take one for loop for int I equal to 0. Total size of the array I need to traverse, right? I does and length I plus plus. In that, guys, can I write like s of I, s of I dot is file? Can I write? Can write like this. If I write like this, it is going to make wrong syntax. Why? Is file method is which available in which class? Is file method is available in which class? File class. But you are trying to use it which for which data? String array. So This is an incorrect way of syntax. That is the reason what we can do is we can use like third syntax. Third syntax, what is the third syntax? Third syntax, the directory reference and the corresponding string name. The string names are all available in array, and directory folder are already available in the corresponding folder F1. So I can use the third syntax. File F equal to new file of the file of. I'm trying to make it reference to F1, meaning that the corresponding folder in F1 and the corresponding file name S of S of I. Now, what this F reference contains? F contains whether the F1 pointed folder contains the S of I is there or not. If it exists, I want to check whether it is a file or not. I want to check whether it is a file or not. That file reference is available in which variable? F variable, right? If F dot is file, dot is file. If it is a file, what I need to do? I need to count. I need to print all the files. What are those files? S of I, S of I, and also I need to increment the count of files. If that is not a file, I am going to make empty directory plus plus. I don't want to print all the directories. If you want, you can print them. There is no problem at all. Okay. Finally, so with this logic, all the loop is completed. There is no problem. Then I'm trying to print all the data. Right. System dot out dot println. The total number of files are plus files. Total number of directories are plus directory. That's it. Simple logic to check all the files and the total number of files are not. Now try to compile. Successfully compiled. Try to. I will clear the screen. Successfully compiled and run. Observe the list of files or directories are book folder csc.txt file jk.txt krishna.txt or jkt folder. Among those, the list of files are csc.txt, jk.txt, krishna.txt, and then the total number of files are 3. The total number of directories are 2. If you want to find the total number of files in the file, what we can do? The total are plus s dot length. You can write anything once you know the concept. So the total are 5. Among those, 3 are files and 2 are directories. Okay. So that's all about today's class. Okay. In the next class, we will see some more in depth how to read the data. Okay. Thank you.